Yogah Karmasu Kaushalam.
Hello, learners. It gives me an immense pleasure to be part of your learning journey. Today's topic is personality. We all have heard this term in some or the other aspects of our learning. Today, we are going to understand this from the perspective of organization behavior and how this personality terminology affects the workplace and how organization can utilize this term for bringing effectiveness and better productivity. Personality is indeed a strong factor for many life and work outcomes. It plays a major role in the success at workplace, although the effects are not always direct. Sometimes they are nuanced. We will be studying this topic with various trait theories like Big Five personality and MBTI. Before we embark on understanding the framework, let's understand the word personality. Some authors have defined personality as the sum of ways in which an individual reacts and interacts with others, fellow colleagues. We have seen that some people are quiet and passive, while others are loud and aggressive. Are certain personality types better adapted than others in certain jobs? All these is explained with the definitions of personality. When we speak of someone's personality, we use many adjectives to describe how they act and seem to think. In fact, the participants of the recent survey used more than 600 distinct adjectives to describe the people they knew. According to Dashmill, 1949, personality is a total picture of an individual's organized behavior, especially as it can be characterized by his fellow men in a consistent way. Munn, 1965, describes personality as the most integration of the characteristics of an individual's structure and activity. It is characteristic in dual sense. It is unique, thus differentiating the individual from the others. Second, it's fairly consistent, representing a customary integration of a particular individual structure and activity. According to Allport, 1961, you can say the father of personality or the person or the researcher who has worked a lot on this area defined personality as a dynamic organization within the individual of those psychophysical systems determining his characteristic behavior and thoughts. Let's elaborate the definition of Allport. Allport has coined certain keywords in his definition. First being the organization or the patterning. These are the independent parts of personality, each of which Allport 1961 defined personality as the dynamic organization within the individual of those psychophysical systems that determine his characteristic behavior and thought. Let's elaborate the key points in this definition. First being the patterning. The patterning of individual parts of the personality structure, each of which has special relation to the whole. Dynamic, constant, evolving or changing nature of personality. Psychophysical systems, composed of the habits, attitudes, emotional states, sentiments, motives, and beliefs. The word determine emphasizes the motivational role of psychophysical systems, and characteristic refers to distinctive person's behavior. Largely, personality assessment has been increasingly used in diverse organizational settings. Many top US firms are using it. Percentage wise, if we say that, then 57% of these large companies like McDonald's, Xerox have been using or assessing the personality of their employees. There are several universities who have begun to use the personality test in their admission process. Personality tests are useful in hiring decisions and help managers to forecast who is the best for the job. Researchers have indicated that culture influences the way we rate ourselves, how we assess ourselves. Hence, a people in the individualistic countries, Western countries, trend towards self-enhancement, while the people in the collectivist countries, like the Asian ones, trend towards self-diminishment. Self-enhancement does not appear to harm the person's career in the individualistic countries, but it definitely does in the collectivist countries, where humanity is valued more than the individualistic behavior. Underrating, that is self-deplenishment, and overrating or self-enhancement may harm the person's career in both the collectivist and individualistic communities. Observer ratings also play an important role. Observer ratings are how the co-workers or the other observers rate you, rate your personality. So the researchers have concluded that the observer rating surveys predict the job success more than the self-rating. Hence, according to Allport, one of the characteristics is the dynamic quality. So, the assumption that there are some qualities that are stable and some qualities in a personality that are dynamic, which means that they are not going to change in any situation or in any condition in one's lifetime. These qualities are the stable qualities, while the qualities that can be changed or can be manipulated, in the sense you know that they are either being made stronger or weaker in certain situations, those qualities are the dynamic ones. Some psychologists feel that personality is very stable. You cannot change personality traits or personality characteristics. But some theorists believe that personality has a quality, they are relatively stable, and most of these qualities can be changed or manipulated depending on the external environment that an individual is exposed to. So the argument that why people behave in certain way is because of the way they are made, they inherit the characteristic, or because of the way they interact with the environment they have grown up in. So the interactionist perspective is based on the assumption that personality is determined both by the biological factors as well as the social, cultural factors or the environmental factors. When I say environment, the society, the social, cultural, something which is outside an individual, are the factors that determine an individual's personality. So let's look at both the arguments, whether the personality is determined by biological factors or socio-cultural factors. For example, if I am an extrovert, why I am an extrovert? Because of my biological makeup or because of the social conditions in which I grew up? Your genes decide who you are. Biological system influence the way you behave. Let's take another example of a very small baby, 2 to 3 months. Some babies are very cheerful, even at a very tender age of 3 months. Another baby might be very irritating individual. So we can say that by these babies will always be in an irritative mood. Some babies will go to everyone who shows affection. These babies are extrovert in nature. Some babies will cling only to their parents. They will not socialize with others. This shows their introversion nature. So all these differences are because of genetic factors. Somebody acquires these personality characteristics over a period of time through their experiences with the world. Again, in psychology, we call it nature nurture argument. The interactionist perspective believes that both the nature and the nurture play an important role and both interact. So we cannot purely say that everything is because of the environmental factors or the upbringing or the society related factors. It is interactive. Some traits are acquired genetically and some traits are based on the experience, that is the nature nurture argument. We can also understand the perspective explained above. Let's take another example, mental illness. Especially some people are prone to mental illness because of the biological reason. But it's not that those people will become mentally ill, irrespective of what the environment conditions are. Only when the environmental conditions trigger, you know that particular biological quality, some people will become psychologically, mentally ill, and they are more vulnerable towards what happens around them. Their biological states get triggered. Let's look at the other side of the psychology aspect, which talks about the role the social factors play in shaping the personality. It's not like you are born with certain qualities. It is also because of your surrounding by a certain group of people, certain group of colleagues, and the environment, your personality changes. The role of culture plays an extremely important role. There are unwritten rules and terms on how men should behave, how women should behave, how children should treat their elders, how you know in a group how a person should behave in the group setting. So these unwritten rules also shape the way we think, the way we behave, and it affects the personality. These cultural norms can vary from one culture to another culture. For example, in certain cultures, the gender norms are not very rigid. In certain cultures, the gender norms clearly expect of women should do only certain things and men should do only certain things. Socialization plays a very important role in changing or shaping the individual's personality. As a children, we identify ourselves with the significant other. We call them our role models. Many times we copy or acquire these qualities which might become stronger later in our life from these significant others or our role models. For example, when a child at a very young age describes about the profession that he wants to enter into future, like most of them would say that I would become a teacher or a profession that the other parent or the role model is undergoing is because of the influence of these role models or the socialization is extremely high. So there is nothing like pure nature or pure nurture. It is the combination of both. Let's talk about certain theories of personality. These theories of personality are the assumptions or certain preposition statements which are made by certain psychologists based on their understanding of what the personality is. Let's talk about the theory of Sigmund Freud, the psychoanalytical theory. It is also sometimes called as the mind psyche. Psyche means the mind or the consciousness. So this theory talks about how consciousness shapes personality or the larger idea of consciousness in which the personality is also a part of. Sigmund Freud is also known as the father of psychology. When we say consciousness, it means awareness. Awareness has different levels according to Freud. It has basically three levels. The first level is the consciousness level, which talks about my current awareness. Let's say I am awake, I am aware of what I am doing, I am aware of my environment, I am aware of my thoughts, I am aware of what I am going to talk in the next slide, I am aware of my name, I am aware of what is happening around me. So, all those things are the consciousness. The second level of consciousness, according to Sigmund Freud, is the subconsciousness. It is the awareness which is not active right now. So, if you ask me, who is my school teacher? What is the name of my school teacher? In which standard I am? So, that awareness is underneath. I have to spend some time to dig deep into my memory and bring that into my awareness. Sometimes it can come out like when I see something which reminds me of my school days, I will remember all those memories that I have in my awareness. So that is the subconsciousness. Subconsciousness is something which is not actively aware of, and it is the awareness which is within us. The third level of consciousness is the unconsciousness. Unconsciousness, to a large extent, seems to be non existent, which means that we may not be even aware of those things. These are like deep inside us. These awareness or these memories or the experiences are buried inside our mind, and it takes very powerful effort to bring them to the state of awareness, to the level of consciousness. So, unlike subconsciousness, which takes a very little bit of effort to remember, unconsciousness is like very difficult to understand or take them from within. These three levels of awareness, described by Sigmund Freud, play a very important role in shaping our personality and our behavior. We will not cover this theory in detail, so I request all of you to please refer Google or a book on psychology which talks in detail about Sigmund Freud's psychotic theory. The personality frameworks. Many of our behaviors stem from our personalities, so as to understanding the components of personality that helps us predict the behavior. The important theoretical framework and assessment tool helps us categorize and study the dimensions of personality. The most widely used and the best known personality framework are the Myers-Briggs Type Personality Indicator and the Big Five Personality Model. Both of these frameworks describe a person's total personality through exploration of facets of the personality. The Myers and the Briggs Type Indicator, which is the MBTI, is a personality test that taps out four characteristics and classify people into one of the 16 personalities. The respondents are classified as extroverted or introverted, that is E or I, sensing or intuitive, that is S or N, thinking or feeling, that is T or F, and judging and perceiving as J or P. The extroverted versus introverted. The extroverted individuals are outgoing, sociable, and assertive. The introverts are quiet and extremely shy. Let us elaborate certain more characteristics of the extroverts and the introverts. The extroverts are very much interested in what's happening around them. They are often talkative. They compare their opinions with the opinions of others. They are action oriented. They easily make friends and easily work with the groups. They say whatever they have in their mind. They are very much interested in what the other people are doing and making new collaborations. They are very easily break their unwanted relationships. They are very about discussing what is right or wrong in the relationship. This seems to be extremely opposite to what the introverts have. They are more interested in their own thoughts and feelings. They have their own territory, their comfort zones where they are good performers. They are very quiet, thoughtful, and reserved. They are not very open in making friends. They have extremely difficulty in creating new contacts. They are not very happy when there is an unexpected visit, and they work well when they are in a, alone, not in a team. Like the extroverted and introverted, the other type of classification is the sensing and the intuitive. The sensing type are more practical and prefer routine and ordered behavior. They focus on the details, while the intuitive rely more on unconscious process and look at a bigger picture. To elaborate more on the difference, here is the slide which says that sensing sees everyone, sense everything. They live in the present. They are very quick in adapting to the changing situations. Their pleasures are based on the physical sensations. They are more practical and active. They are realistic and confident. While the intuitive are mostly in the past or in the future. They worry about the future more than their present. They are interested in everything which is new and unusual. They are not very fond of routine and mundane tasks. They are more attracted towards the theory than the practice. They often have the doubts. This makes these two personalities. The other type of respondents are categorized as thinking versus feeling. Thinking are more logical and reasoning oriented when they come to handle a problem, while the feeling types are relying more on their personal values and emotions. Judging versus perceiving. Judging types want more control and prefer an order and structure, while the perceiving types are more flexible and spontaneous. The Myers and Briggs type indicator model forces a person into any one type of this categorization. So you can be either an introverted or extroverted, thinking or feeling, judging or perceiving. It's an extremely reliable measure when we assess the individuals based on this framework. However, the MBTI framework is largely unrelated with the job performances. Let's talk about the second type of framework, which is the Big Five personality model. This model proposes five basic dimensions mostly a personality can be classified into. The test scores of these traits do a very good job in predicting how the people would behave in a variety of real life situations and remain relatively stable for an individual over a period of time. Let's take a pause and complete the assessment of ourselves based on the Big Five personality model. On the next slide, you will have a questionnaire which I would request you all to take some time and answer to these questions. Let's take up a small uh, test of our personality based on the Big Five inventory, which is given by John Opie and Srivastav S. in the year 1999. It describes the instrument consisting of 44 items. I would request all the learners to take this test, which comes in front of you. Let me explain how it would be scored. So, all questions, there are 44 questions which will be on your screen, and you will be required to give an answer on a 5-pointer Likert scale. That is, disagree strongly should be assigned as 1, disagree a little should be assigned as 2, neither agree nor disagree as 3, agree a little as 4, and agree strongly as 5. So, as per your personality, if the answer to the question number 1 is 5, that means I am talkative, is talkative. To that, I agree strongly. Therefore, I have given 5 as my answer. I hope the explanation tends to be very clear. So please follow the slides for 44 questions, which would be coming in front of you. And I request all of you to answer the same. Now let's understand how you are going to score your responses on the 44 items. Now classify all your questions on the 5 types of Big Five personality traits. That is extraversion, agreeableness, consciousness, neuroticism, and openness. Extraversion comprises of question number 1, 6, 11, 16, 21, 26, 31, and 36. Agreeableness comprises of questions 2, 7, 12, 17, 22, 27, 32, 37, and 42. Consciousness comprises of questions 3, 8, 13, 18, 23, 28, 33, 38, and 43. Neuroticism comprises of questions 4, 9, 14, 19, 24, 29, 34, 39. Openness comprises of questions 5, 10, 15, 20, 27, 30, 35, 40, 41, and 44. Once you classify the questions and note your answers, one more step needs to be done, and that is the reverse coding. For example, in extraversion, question number 6, the answer or the response that you have mentioned is 5, which is strongly agree or agree strongly. Then you will have to give a reverse code to it. So the answer or the response, which is 5, will get converted into 2 and vice versa. So if you have given response 5, it will become 1, 4 will become 2, and 3 will remain as it is. Similarly, 1 response will become 5, 2 response will become 4, and 3 response will become or will be as it is. So wherever R is mentioned, your scores, whatever you have given in that question, would be reverse coded. Extraversion has reverse coding in the questions 6, 21, and 31. Agreeableness, reverse coding comes in question 2, 12, 27, and 37. Conscientiousness, the reverse coding comes in question number 8, 18, 23, and 43. Neuroticism, the reverse coding comes in question number 9, 24, 34. In openness, the reverse coding comes in question number 35 and 41R. Please take 5 minutes of your time to convert and finalize your responses. Kindly total all the responses in each category. The largest number of response that you get in a certain category should be ranked. That means if you get the highest score in agreeableness, the rank of agreeableness in all the other 4 personality traits should be at number 1. Similarly, if at neuroticism you score the lowest, then the rank of the personalities amongst the personality, neuroticism will be ranked as number 5. This exercise will help you understand what is the largest or the biggest contributing trait in your personality. I'm sure the exercises undertaken has revealed your personality traits as per the Big Five personality model. Let's learn the Big Five personality traits individually. The first one being the conscientiousness. It's a dimension that describes someone who is responsible, dependable, persistent, and organized. Emotionally stable, or the neurotic personality that we had described in the questionnaire, are one and the same. This dimension characterizes if someone is calm, confident, secure versus nervousness, depressed, and insecure. So, largely, this type of trait talks about your emotional condition. Extraversion describes if someone is sociable or gregarious. Openness is a dimension which talks about in someone's sensitivity, curiosity, and imagination. Agreeableness is a dimension that describes if someone is good natured, cooperative, and trusting. Let's go a step ahead in understanding how this Big Five personality, as per uh, Stephen P. Robbins, elaborates its effect on the work dimensions. So, on the left hand side, the Big Five personalities are listed, that is, the emotional stability, that is, neuroticism, extraversion, openness, agreeableness, and conscientiousness. Why studying these personality is relevant is mentioned in the second column. For example, studying the Big Five personality trait of extraversion helps us better understand the interpersonal skills that an individual has, the greater social dominance or the leadership ability an individual can display, and the third one, whether the individual is emotionally expressive. So, why these personality are relevant is mentioned in the second column. It also elaborates on the characteristic that the trait possesses. The third column indicates how these personality traits can affect the workplace behavior or the workplace attitudes. So, again, taking the example of extraversion, we see an extrovert personality trait displays high work performance, enhanced leadership, higher job and life satisfaction. Similarly, if we see all the three columns of the trait openness, it describes that the characteristic displayed by this personality is via increased learning, being more creative, flexible, and autonomous, and how it affects work is through the training performance. They display extraordinary skills when it comes to learning and training. Again, enhanced leadership, and the last one being more adaptable to change because this personality trait has a characteristic of being flexible and autonomous. Similarly, you can understand all the five traits and their impact on the workplace through this diagram which is in front of you. Let's see some research outcomes about how the Big Five personality predicts the behaviors at work. Conscientiousness at work. So, a personality which has a conscientiousness trait, those employees score higher on the levels of job knowledge, probably because highly conscious people learn more. and these levels correspond to higher levels of job performance. Conscious people are more able to maintain their job performance even when they face an abusive supervision. Conscientiousness. These people tend to be more likely to be engaged in more organization citizenship behavior and are very less likely to engage in the counterproductive work behaviors like leaving an organization. Conscientiousness has several pitfalls. Extremely conscientious individuals can be too deliberate, perfectionist, resulting in diminished happiness and performance. They also become too focused on their own work than helping others in the organization. They may not become very effective leaders. Finally, they become less creative and especially artistic because they are too much into perfection. Emotional stability at workplace or negative trait, that is the neurotic individuals. So the individuals who are emotionally stable most of the time, they relate strongly to life and job satisfaction. They have a reduced burnout and the intention to quit. People with high emotional stability can adapt to unexpected or changing demands in the workplace, while the neurotic individuals are unable to cope up with these changing demands and immediately experience a burnout at work. The individuals who indicate or show an extraversion personality, these extroverts perform better in their jobs with significant interpersonal interactions. They are relatively stronger predictor of leadership emergence in the groups. But at the same time, there are negatives that appear due to self aggregatizing, egoistic, and too dominating behavior of these extrovert. Open people tend to be more creative and innovative as compared to other traits. Open people experience less family work conflict. While openness isn't related to initially the individuals displaying openness at work often tend to be more creative and innovative as compared to the other traits. Openness isn't related to initial performance on a job. Individuals higher in openness are less susceptible to a deadline in performance over a longer period of time. Often people also experience less work family conflict. Agreeableness at work is likely to deal with individuals who are liked more than the people who are disagreeable. They perform well in interpersonal oriented jobs such as customer service. They experience less work family conflict. They also contribute to organizational performance by engaging in organization citizenship behavior. While the disagreeable people, on the other hand, are more likely to engage in counterproductive work behaviors. Agreeableness is associated with lower level of career success. Perhaps highly agreeable people are considered as less marketable and less willing to assert themselves. Except for neuroticism, the big five personality traits are what we call socially desirable traits that we all would be glad to score high on. Researchers have found that there are three other socially undesirable traits which we all have in a varying degrees and are also relevant to the concept and the studies in organization behavior. These three socially undesirable traits are Machiavellianism, narcissism, and psychopathy. Because of their negative nature, researchers have labeled them as dark triad. Dark triad is a constellation of negative personality traits consisting of the above three that we narrated, which is the Machiavellianism, narcissism, and psychopathy. Machiavellianism is the degree to which an individual is pragmatic, maintain emotionally distant, and believes that ends can be justified if the means are right or wrong. High Machiavellianism manipulates more, wins more, and are persuaded less by others, but persuade others more than do the Machiavellianism personality. They are more likely to act aggressively and engage in counterproductive work behaviors as well. High Machiavellianism employees, by manipulating, take advantage, win in short term, but they lose gains in long term because they are not liked by narcissism. The second of the dark triad is the tendency to be arrogant, have grandiose sense of self-importance, and admire. The narcissist often have fantasies of grand success. They have a tendency to exploit situations and people. They lack empathy. However, the narcissists are hypersensitive and highly fragile people. On the brighter side, the narcissists have more charismatic personality than others. They also might have found the businesses where they are more successful than any other field. They are likely to be chosen as leaders in various organizations. One of the studies in the Norwegian bank employees found that the narcissist employee was scoring extremely high and enjoyed their work more than anyone else. These people are more adaptable and make better business decisions than any others whenever the situation is complex. Psychopathy is a tendency for lack of non-concern for others and the lack of guilt or remorse when action causes the harm. The researchers and the available literature is not very consistent about whether psychopathy is an important work behavior or not. But it was found that this antisocial personality, which is closely related and was positively related to the advancement in the organization, but was unrelated with other aspects of the career success and effectiveness. The other research suggests that psychopathy is related to the use of bullying behavior at workplace. With this, we come to the conclusion of the topic that we in depth studied personality. Personality matters to organization behavior a lot. It does not explain all behaviors, but it sets a stage. Emerging theories and researches have revealed that personality matters more in some situations than others. The Big Five, the MBTI in particular, are very important advancements. Though the flip side, that is the dark triad, also matters at workplace. Every trait has its advantages and disadvantages related to performance and organization citizenship behaviors. There is no perfect constellation of traits that is ideal in every situation. Personality can help you understand why people, including yourself, act, think, feel the way they do. And as an astute manager, you can put your understanding to take care of the employees in situations that best fit their personality. An understanding of personality can also help you understand what strengths you may have and what strengths or weaknesses that you do not possess when you are searching for a job and the career prospects. I thank HRDC, Gujarat University, and all the organizers who have ensured that they bring about contemporary topics to their learners. I wish the organizers of the refresher program best of luck and all the learners a very happy and successful learning experience. Thank you very much.